Good morning. It's day 19. It's a Thursday. And I am headed to Yosemite National Park. It's about a 3-hour ride away. And I'm really excited about today. This is my campsite. I've already broken camp at 6:30 in the morning. Hope to be out of here in the next half hour or so. I'm underway. But this morning, the rear tire was low on air. I don't know if it's because the temperature dropped or whether there's a leak. So I tried to add air using my little pump, which I haven't used very often. I've only used it maybe half a dozen times. When I started adding it to the back, I was actually losing pressure while the pump was running. It's like, what the heck is going on here? And I think there's a leak in the hose for the pump. So I took a bad situation and made it worse. And now I'm trying to find a gas station that has an air pump. There was one that was 1.5 miles from camp. And oh, that's great. And of course it was out of order. So I got to head south to the next one, and hopefully they have one that's available. It seemed like I was holding air yesterday. I'm hopeful that it was just the cooler temperature. It was installed about 80 degrees and it was about 60 degrees this morning. So it dropped 20 degrees, and it's very possible that he started off a little low. I wanted him at 42. He put it in at 40. And morning it was 36. So it's very possible that drop from 40 to 36 was just the air temperature drop. In any event, I got to get the tire pressure back up to where it's supposed to be. And one other thing, the weld is broken. So I was pretty disappointed with that. And maybe the ugliness of the weld should have told me the guy didn't know exactly what he was doing. In any event, the bike sounded nice and quiet yesterday, and now I'm hearing some rattle again. It's not quite as bad as it was before I tried to do the repair. Alright, I'm reloaded with air. Ready to rock and roll to Yosemite. So I'm headed west, and eventually I'm going to be turning north once I get up to Highway 190. Fellow stopped when I was at the gas station and was chatting with me about it. He works for this company that hauls the wood. This is not him, but I said, what kind of trees are those? He said, they're pine. Huge pine trees. Nice campground last night, $10 a night. Kind of hard to beat that kind of price. And the tent site was nice. It's quiet. Highway 41 devolved into a 2-lane road, and the traffic peeled away. Although you can see the graph on my GPS, and I am going to be gaining altitude the further I get to Yosemite. Just past 3,000 feet of altitude. The roads are actually pretty nice. National Forest. I was originally going to go from south to north in these national parks here in the eastern side of California. The issue is that the Yosemite has crowd control hours during the weekend, and if I had gone south to north going through the national parks, I would have run into the weekend control here at Yosemite, and I couldn't get a ticket. So during the week you can get into Yosemite without a crowd control ticket, or I'm not sure exactly what they call it, the access ticket. So that's what I decided to do, is drive all the way north, and then I'll work my way to Kings Canyon and Sequoia National Parks after I visit Yosemite. Sierra National Forest. I've become a big fan of the National Forest because they have great campgrounds, relatively inexpensive pricing, and it's a good alternative if you can't get a site in the national park. Usually there's a national forest near it. Oh, it's great riding. Bus got out of the way. My Suzuki do its thing. Best riding I've had in quite some time. it's so good to get off those California freeways and those Texas flats. Up over 4,600 feet elevation. Curvy roads, next 2 miles. The air has the most interesting smell. It's sweet, almost sickly sweet. I'm not sure, it doesn't quite smell like pine or evergreen. So I don't know exactly what it is. Up over 5,000 feet. Temperatures dropped to 59 degrees. And it is sprinkling on me, probably getting on the camera lens. I am in Yosemite National Park. They have these signs here. Park entry, estimated times 30 minutes from that point. Just have huge lines of people trying to get in. You get a sign flashing saying that on the weekends you need the entry permit. There's a visitor center, I think, a couple miles ahead. I'm going to stop and put on another layer. So I don't think it's going to get much warmer. Looks like they are refurbishing the Wawona Hotel. It said there's a visitor center. I'm not quite sure where that is. Based on the sign in the visitor center, bears get killed quite a bit by automobiles in Yosemite. Yeah, at least the sun came out. Look at that. The sky is almost without clouds. I came in at the Wawona Visitor Center, the southern entrance to Yosemite, headed north, and then ultimately I'm going to go to Yosemite Valley. Glacier Point is to the right, and Yosemite Valley is straight ahead. Glacier Point 16 miles. Maybe I'll try to do that in the morning. Dropping elevation, just passed through 5,000 feet. There's Half Dome way out in the distance. I'll be able to see that better when I get down into Yosemite Valley. I lost my sunshine. The clouds rolled in again. It's a bridal couple getting their photo shoot here. Passing into a tunnel. Probably can't see anything. That is Bridalveil Falls. I am down in Yosemite Valley. This is where my camp will be. Camp number 4. There's some blue sky over there. I turned around, I'm doing a loop. I'm going to see if I can find my campground, perhaps check in, and then there's El Capitan, the famous cliff here. This is El Capitan. There's somebody camping up there. Pretty impressive park. I am headed to Yosemite Village. Hopefully pick up some food. It is a little after 4 o'clock. Should be able to see my camp here on the right. Yeah, there it is. I'm a lunatic. I had no idea that they were going to jam 4 people into a site. I was wondering why they call it 4 campground. And that's why. 4 to a site. They got a trillion acres and they stick everybody together. From the Yosemite store, chips, pushable lemonade, banana, cookie for dessert, and an Asian chicken salad. All the rest of it goes into the bear box tonight. Good morning. It's day number 20. It's a Friday. I'm headed to Kings Canyon National Park. Leaving Yosemite. I don't know if you can see El Capitan there or not. It's peeking in the sunshine. It's chilly out. It's 45 degrees, 7 o'clock in the morning. What a beautiful park. Camp 4 campground last night was just totally packed. I don't know who designed it, but they didn't know what they were doing. Very dense. I mean, this national park has so many acres, and then they stick everybody together in this highly concentrated area. It's ridiculous. But that's behind me, and I'm thinking about taking Glacier Viewpoint, the Glacier Viewpoint ride. I think it's 12 miles in, 12 miles back. El Capitan, 7 o'clock in the morning. That's a gorgeous day. I think I'm only about, if you draw a line between where I'm going today and where I am right now, I think it's about 70 miles or something, but because there's no direct route, it's 141. I think that's going to be the tune over the next couple days. Not much distance by air, but long distances by motorcycle because of indirect routing. Tunnel view. Into the tunnel we will go. Climbed up over 5,000 feet getting out of Yosemite Valley. Crossed over 6,000 feet. 16 miles, no vehicles over 30 feet. Gaining altitude again. It said you could look down on, I think, Half Dome from this spot, so it's obviously got some elevation to it. I was talking to the young man at the grocery store last night, and he's from Montana, where they get a ton of snow, and he said, yeah, his colleagues were telling him, wait till you see the winters here at Yosemite. And he was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm from Montana. I know what winters are like up in Montana. I know what they're like down here. And as any indication, these edge markers, they're over my head. Which tells you how deep the snow gets here. My GPS is indicating I'm over 7,000 feet of altitude. And I'm still climbing. Temperature was climbing from the mid-40s up into the low 50s as I left Yosemite Valley, but with this altitude here, man, it's dropped to 41 degrees. I'm
Got my heated jacket on, but I don't have it plugged in. If it keeps like this, I just dropped to 40. I'm gonna have to pull over and plug in. 38. I'm getting an ice warning now. I don't know if it's gonna get picked up by the camera or not, but it is a glorious view. The sun is in the wrong direction, but wow, it's absolutely amazing. With that stop, I plugged in my electrical vest, and it instantly makes a difference. My heated grits back on. Still gotta watch that temperature though. I don't like it getting too close to freezing. Fortunately, the temperature's gone up to 40, so I feel like I got better chance at traction. So that's good. Getting close to the end, I can see it on my GPS. Some squiggly turns here. Another couple miles. 7,777 feet of elevation.
Better spot.
Yeah, exactly.
That was Washburn Point. Now I'm going back to Glacier Point. Wow, what a view is that, huh? Holy cow. Wasn't expecting that on the turn.
That is called overhanging rock for good reason. It's North Dome on the left. Basket Dome on the right.
I'd love to spend some more time at Yosemite, but Kings Canyon National Park is calling my name. I have 149 miles to go. It's going to take me probably until early afternoon to get there, given it. What time is it anyways? 9:30 in 3.5 hours. The ride is limited at 35 miles an hour, but it's all you need to experience the joy of the twists and the turns here. And the elevation changes. Let's see if I can do this safely. There we go. They have these speeding kills bear signs because of the high fatality rate of the black bear. They're all over the place, trying to get people to slow down. Give the bears a chance when they're crossing the road. What a ride! Oh my gosh! So it's goodbye to Yosemite. Next stop, it's probably fuel. And then beyond that is Kings Canyon National Park, which is 115 miles away at this point. Speed limits have increased now that I'm out of the national park. Still nice and curvy though. It says 55 miles an hour. I don't know how you rip along at 55 miles an hour safely on this road. I suppose a more experienced rider than I am could do it. It was 35 degrees this morning. It is now 79 degrees. So that's a 44 degree swing since I got on the bike this morning. I'm back down near probably 1,200 feet of elevation. Interesting looking terrain. It is, what is it, 81 degrees. That's interesting. Giant Sequoia National Monument. Sequoia National Forest. Same scenario as Yosemite. Climbing altitudes, dropping temperatures down to 70 degrees, almost 5,000 feet. There should be a sign here. GPS is saying it's 5,000 feet. This ride is every bit as good as the one that I had earlier this morning. It's getting chilly. It's 66 degrees. GPS is saying 6,000 feet of altitude. Very helpful ranger at the check-in station. I always thought redwood trees and sequoias are the same, but apparently they are cousins of one another. They're not the same species. So I thought that was interesting. There's a visitor center up here. I'm going to go up, sit down for a few minutes, get myself situated in terms of what I'm going to do today and where my park is, that is my camp, and try to piece it all together. I made it. I am in Kings Canyon National Park. And he said that you can take I think an hour ride down to the valley floor inside the canyon. So that's going to be probably high on my list. That's the visitor center. So I just left the visitor center and I am headed towards Cedar Grove, which is down in the valley where my campsite is located for this evening. They tell me it's a 1 hour trip to get there. On the way I'm going to do a few stops to the extent they interest me. And this is Grant's Tree somewhere down here. Apparently the sequoias, compared to the redwoods, based on what the fellow at the entrance station told me, was that these trees tend to be shorter and flatter than redwoods. This thing's huge. It's just in the parking lot, not even the tree. Look at the size of those 4 trees near the cars. Gives a sense for scale. Have this tree set up with a pathway through it. It's like insanely large. General Grant tree had some fire damage in the past, but the 3rd largest tree by volume in the world. Or 1,700 years old, 40-foot diameter trunk. Alright, now I'm headed towards Cedar Grove. Those trees are just amazing. Tomorrow's going to be cool going through Sequoia. Not a bad view. Car down there on the curve that just disappeared where I'm headed. I see some roads down there. I don't know whether I'm going to go all the way down there or not. It sounded like this was down at the base of the canyon, so I'm guessing it'll be down there somewhere. There's not that many roads down there. I think there may only be one. This is the curve that I took a picture of up above. Just ran into a young couple from Connecticut that lived in San Diego for a year and now moving back to Worcester, Massachusetts. I think that's the first Connecticut plate I've seen on this trip, if I'm not mistaken. Now this is looking the other way. Before I was looking to my right, this is now to my left. So this must be just the entrance to the canyon. Must have been looking at one side of the canyon, now I'm looking at the other. There's a river at the bottom of the canyon. Its closest peak is Mount Harrington, 11,008 feet. University Peak way out there in the distance, in the crux of the valley. University Peak, 13,632 feet. Kings River is the name of the river down at the bottom. Today has been filled with some of the best riding I think I've ever done. Morning and then again in the afternoon. Midday wasn't much to speak of, but man, 2 national parks. You just can't beat this kind of riding. You may equal it, but you can't beat it. Still hugging that canyon wall. Still losing altitude. Was it worth the ride crossing the Great Plains? Absolutely. Man, this is like, this road is worth like $1 million. Look at that. Look at this. Magnificent. Over here on my left is the South Fork of the Kings River. It's almost 4 o'clock and I still haven't reached my camp. I got about 10 miles to go, which is probably going to take another 15 or 20 minutes. Only about 2/3 of the way there. The river is on my right. The river is gorgeous, so hopefully they have some pull-offs to be able to look at it. Back into Kings Canyon National Park, and they have a nice sign. This is Canyon View. Should be coming up on my campground soon. I was going to pass by the campground and go to the turnaround because this road dead ends. That's pretty impressive. This is the turnaround point. Somehow I missed Camp Moraine, which is where I think I'm staying tonight. I'm going to check. Pretty impressive though, here at the end. Well, not that it would have changed my route at all, but I got to go back to Cedar Grove, 6 miles. The name of the campground is Sentinel. I don't know how I got Moraine stuck in the back of my head. Maybe that's where I originally intended on going, which I never saw, although I didn't know that I saw the Sentinel either, but it's near the visitor center, so it should be easy enough to find. I don't think it's, maybe it's not on the main road here. Cedar Grove Village Visitor Center. Somewhere here is the Sentinel Campground. It's probably right there. Yeah, that's got to be it. I think it's the only one that's open for some reason. Sentinel Campground, site number 9. It's supposed to be the last site available, but I don't understand why there's so many open spots. And they have 4 or 5 bears that come through here regularly, so I got to be careful with my supplies using the bear box.